TruthSeekah and or its affiliates are not responsible for any strange phenomena that may occur during or after listening to this podcast, which may include the following: heightened senses of awareness, psychic abilities, UFO sightings, alien contact, time loss, out-of-body experiences, ringing in the ears, ESP, lucid dreaming, increased synchronicities, astral projection, telepathy, stronger intuition, levitation, miraculous healings, and or remote viewing. Please be advised to listen at your own discretion.
Won't you come and take me away? I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away? To a place to walk on troubled seas, faith to stand when I don't believe. I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away? I just wanna be with you. Won't you come?
You are now locked into the TruthSeekah Podcast.
Gargoyles! Psychics! Everything's ungodly! Dark-sided!
Streaming live at truthseekah.com.
She's not a Christian!
Give it up, y'all.
Your portal to the paranormal, esoteric, and all things spiritual.
She's tampering in dark-sided stuff!
And now, your host, TruthSeekah.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is the TruthSeekah Podcast. I'm your host, TruthSeekah. Excited and delighted to be with you guys again today. This beautiful day that we're enjoying. Got a great show planned. And really can't go too much further without saying thank you to all of the lovely patron supporters. Everybody who supports my work and essentially makes this show possible. You guys are the enablers. I couldn't do this without you, literally. So thank you for co-creating with me to bring the people this show, this interview, this energy, whatever it is. I'm blaming you. You are the enablers. Thank you, guys. Quick shout out to some of the new patrons who have just joined on board. Some people have just joined the fold. Definitely a huge shout out to all the people who've been supporting, all the day one people. Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart, really. Some of the new people here within the last week or so. Give a shout out to David Huffman. Thank you, David, for coming aboard. Angel Hernandez, Susie Labner, Shawnee Benz, Crawlings, what's up? And Austin Kerr. Thank you guys for joining with us to create this and make it possible. Couldn't do it without you. If you would like to give, if you would like to support the work and what we're building here, whatever this is, whatever it's morphing into, if you want to support it, you want to jump on board, head on over to patreon.com/TruthSeekah. There, you can join at any level of giving, anywhere from $1 to whatever your heart's desire is, and you actually get rewards. You get access to my entire discography of music, which is 10 plus albums, as well as unreleased music that I'm working on that's uploaded there now. I'm working on a new EP called Colors, and it's based off of or influenced by the chakra system. Doing one song per chakra. So there's a couple of them up right there. A little bit different than what I'm used to, a lot more melodic. I'm loving it. I'm feeling it. Head on over there and check out all the cool stuff we got. You also get access to our Thursday night School of the Mystics, which is going on, if you're listening live on YouTube, tonight. Every Thursday, 7 p.m., we have a hangout. We do courses together. We get into prayer and meditation, activation, all of that good stuff. If that's what you're looking for a community, you're not alone. There's more people out there just like you who have similar stories and similar experiences where you're not a crazy person for believing what you believe or having these encounters. So that's why this podcast exists, and that's why the community aspect of what we're building exists, because it can be lonely out there. So we're kind of taking away that excuse that no one understands me or I have nobody to talk to. Yes, you do. Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central, School of the Mystics, as well as in our Discord chat as well. Thank you guys for all the donations. Crowlings, thank you for the donation, the super chat that just came through. Thanks so much. Without further ado, we're going to bring on today's guest. Been looking forward to speaking with her for some time now. Got an email a couple weeks ago after she's seen the Laura Eisenhower interview, and she said, you know what, I think I can bring something to the table. So I got this email from Rose and checked out her channel and what she's bringing to the community, and wanted to have her on as a guest. So Rose Harmonics, welcome to the TruthSeekah Podcast. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Yeah. Whenever, I guess you've seen that interview. We're talking about aliens. We're talking about UFOs and things. And I don't know how much of this you want to get into, but in the initial email, you kind of wanted to talk a little bit about UFOs, aliens, abductions, and things like that. Right. But I got an email yesterday or the day before that saying you kind of feel led to go into another direction because of some interactions with your job or something like that. Do you want to?
Actually, part of the problem was my job, censure, and also I've been receiving lots of channeling and downloads from the Mary Magdalene lineage. So I wanted to share more about that because that's the current flow of information that I'm receiving. It's more about now grounding myself in my divine feminine aspect and absorb what's more important for me to share at the global level, more about the energies of the divine feminine, because I still believe in extraterrestrial communication. I have my galactic team, but right now I'm transitioning more into embracing the divine feminine aspect.
Mm-hmm. So did someone find out the things that you're talking about and you got in trouble on the job or something? What happened?
Sure. It seems like somebody sent the link of my previous interview to my employer. Yeah. So that's how the employer got a little upset about,
We've all been there.
Yeah. Touching into their probably religious sensitivities and... Although we have the freedom to believe whatever we want,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But sometimes people are not compassionate,
yeah,
and it's gonna throw judgment.
Yeah.
And I'm living a very spiritual, religious town in Virginia, which is pretty much the Bible Belt. So there is not much of processing other type of belief systems here.
Yeah. So you're like a way seer there. Keep it up, though. Don't let them push you in a corner. Don't let them threaten you or steal your joy. There's a blessing in it whenever you're authentic with who you are. And you don't have to pretend that you don't believe in that, or you don't pretend that that's not real, or I choose not to talk about it on the job. That's another story if you're bringing it to the job. But what you do and what you get into when you go home is between you, your audience, and God. You know what I'm saying? So there's a blessing in it. I
think about the same.
Yeah, that was I had to kind of cross that precipice, having a job. I got let go from my job a year ago, but before that, I started seeing breakthrough when I began to be open about my story, about my psilocybin encounters with magic mushrooms, with communicating telepathically with aliens, and all of this stuff, and just be open with it. And all of my friends and my constituents were like, you shouldn't talk about that because if your boss finds out, they're going to probably fire you. Or if they find out you're doing drugs, magic mushrooms, you're going to get fired, drug tested, they're going to let you go. And it's like, so all of my friends, they began to be quiet. They wouldn't talk about this stuff at all. But I began to be open about my experiences, what I believe. Where I'm in the Bible Belt too, so church is on every corner. I come out of Christianity. Yeah, I come out of Christianity, so it was really weird. I got made fun of and laughed at and all of this stuff. But if you stay consistent with it, you begin to find your audience. You begin to find the other. So I just encourage you just to continue with your message, what you believe in, especially what's working. If it's helping you find peace and be a better person and bring love and understanding to the community, definitely, I encourage you in that.
I agree. I needed to come out of my spiritual closet and start sharing my truth. And I'm starting to attract lots of like-minded people, especially women who are resonating with my message.
Yeah.
And I have an interesting background because I'm coming out from the Catholic Church. I was raised Catholic, and I always had a connection to the Divine Feminine, to Mary and Mary Magdalene. But also it was lots of patriarchal influences there. And when I had my second awakening, my Kundalini awakening, I realized that we are more than just the Divine Masculine is overemphasized, and we have also the Divine Feminine. So I'm projecting my energies more towards the Divine Feminine aspect. Like, I believe there is a Godhead, creator. I also believe, because we live in a polarity system, there is also a Divine Feminine aspect. We can't just take only one aspect and put it above the feminine. That's my perspective. And also, I'm trying to clarify, because many people came and asked me, I do not play the game of feminism, because I'm trying to work with the Divine Feminine, not the toxic feminine. The toxic feminine is feminism. And I always very clear, I do not play the game of, I'm not into politics, I do not play the game of feminism.
Yeah.
I'm here to spread the truth from the divine aspect of the Divine Feminine, not promote any agenda from the matrix that is more of the feminism and feeling like they need to compete with the male, because I do not believe in competition, you know.
Are you so since you come out of Catholicism, really Catholicism focuses on the divine feminine? You know, they exalt Mary a lot of times over Jesus or over God. You know what I'm saying, pray to Mary, the goddess of heaven, the mother of all flesh. Like, there's definitely a goddess energy there of Mary being worshipped or venerated as the goddess of heaven. Do you see any correlation there with the Catholic teachings and stuff like that with the goddess energy, or do you separate it?
There are some influences, but I do not believe in organized religion. The Divine Feminine, Mary is also exalted, like you said, but there is an aspect of the twin flame energy. The Yeshua had a twin flame called Mary Magdalene, and it's in the Da Vinci Code that Jesus had the most important apostle was Mary, and the other apostles were jealous of their relationship with Mary Magdalene. So they started to boycott that relationship, and also many people in the Catholic Church tried to put lots of shame onto the Mary Magdalene aspect, saying that she was a prostitute, that she was a sinner, that she wasn't deserving of any veneration. And those were also the Catholic Church trying to deny the importance of the Divine Feminine aspect. Mary Magdalene was one of the apostles and was painted in the Leonardo da Vinci paintings as one of the most prominent apostles, part of the Divine Feminine lineage. And the Holy Grail and the Holy Blood is referred to that divine Christ, I would say, the merging of Magdalene and Jesus had a birth of a new being who is the carrier of the Holy Blood. And some people speculate that the Holy Blood is a chalice, but really we need to take into account that Jesus was a man, not just a teacher. He also had the need to have a romantic relationship with somebody. And this is against Catholicism, against many doctrines, because doctrine, dogma doesn't want Jesus to have a partner.
And we see what's happening with the suppression of the sexual energy, to say that like the clergymen can't, touch a woman. They have to devote themselves to God, or even the nuns, or whatever the case is. This abstinence or whatever, and to kind of deny it. And we see like the allegations and what's going on in the Catholic Church right now. Like when you say that word, one thing usually comes to mind is all those sexual assault cases they have with children, with innocent people. That's the crazy thing, is when you suppress that energy,
right?
We see what happens. Not good.
No, not good. And we have the right to worship whoever we want. We have the right to have the Mary Magdalene as a sacred woman aspect. And she was painted in many all ancient paintings. She was in many cathedrals, windows in France, because they preserved the teachings of Mary Magdalene. There is a gospel that was lost and taken to Egypt. And then there is all sort of, conspiracy against her. The Crusaders didn't want her to become an apostle. They tried to kill everybody who was supporting the idea of the Mary Magdalene. The Pope Gregory the Great, a Catholic Pope, is the one who said that woman has to be erased from the scriptures. We are going to label her as a sinner. And he was the one who created all this shame around the sacred sexuality, right? Because they had a sacred union, the Rose Harmonics. They were connected in sacred union. But it was inconvenient for dogmatic people to approve that type of relationships. And, then we have these Da Vinci Code movies about it. We have the Holy Grail and the Holy Blood movies about it. And it's a mystery, really. Mm-hmm. We don't know. I don't have all the answers. I just follow my intuition. I got revelations. I just open myself to lots of downloads about her. And I try to transmit this information to my audience. And part of the problem with religion is patriarchal influences. And patriarchal is not just a male-dominating religion. By definition of patriarchy is control. So control can be coming from a woman too. Any controlling religion, even if the manager is a female, is patriarchal. When you don't have free will, when you don't have freedom of speech, it's a patriarchy. And I have many friends in religion, Christians, who they resonate with my message. They talk about a Jezebel, mm-hmm. the female who is in control, the energies of the toxic feminine, when the feminine feels they is superior to the male, when in reality we're all equal, right? Mm-hmm. But sometimes people confuse the message.
Yeah, it's a really weird times that we're living in. This what's going on with the feminism, with the toxic masculinity, the patriarchal stuff. It gets really weird, and I've talked to some people who take it really far out with it, and come up with some crazy ideas and stuff. I do believe in a divine order. I do believe that women are anointed to play a specific role that only they can do. I do believe that there's things that the man, who is the male role, the father figure, the protector, and they're anointed for things to do as well. the roles are getting mixed up for a lot of reasons. I think a lot of it's by design, taking the father out of the household by design. Some of these things, it's real interesting, and we see what's happening. We just look at the generation and some, like, people abandoning genders at a young age when they're still you know, their minds are still forming and you know, wondering about life and sexuality and asking questions, and then doctors are letting them make life-changing decisions at 8 years old type. We're in some really weird times. There's a lot on the plate now. There's a lot of options about what you want to be and what do you feel like and things like that. So I think that it is good that there's a balance with the energies, that we're not supposed to just be all here or all there. I really do believe in the balance of the divine feminine and the divine masculine as well, and not just one exalted over the other. It's whenever we get into that type of, you know, unbalance, you start, it's not good. So if we look at, for me, I really see the goddess energy for me, especially from a Christian standpoint, or let's say Christian, just a biblical standpoint, of Mother Earth, of just resonating with the father energy, the masculine energy coming down and almost impregnating the earth, and then us, the children, coming out of the earth. And so it was the father and the mother, and the spirit is what kind of ignited that flame within us. So it's that even there, like that holy trinity. Let's go back though a little bit, because I know we can get off into so many tangents with that stuff, but let's go back a little bit to your childhood. I really like to kind of talk about like some of the things that happened early on and what influenced you to kind of take this path in life. Like what kind of influences did you have? Or there paranormal encounters that you had as a child that you knew the spirit realm existed or whatever? What are some of the earliest memories that you've had with interaction with the other side?
That's a very interesting question, because I remember I had a strong connection with nature, Gaia, and I always wander in the forest. I started to connect to the spirits of the forest, nature, and those were my imaginary friends. I used to see ships on the sky, pretty relevant to me to see lots of paranormal and no answers to my questions, because my parents used to say, oh, it's just your imagination. You didn't see anything. It's just, oh no, it's just a plane or whatever.
Yeah.
No, not giving me validation for my intuition. I used to see my friends, the auras in colors. I knew if my friend was sick because his aura was a little dark, like brown color. And I asked him, are you sick? Are you feeling okay? He said, no, I'm okay. Why? Oh, well, your aura is a little dark, and nobody understood me, really. And later on, this person got ill. So I had lots of encounters with my animal companions. I had a kitty cat who I adopted, who was following me everywhere. And I knew later on he was my totem animal, my companion.
Mm-hmm.
I started to use my hands to heal my mom, to bring her support, because she was always stressed out. And I use my hands. I still do energy healing with my hands. And I didn't understand why I was able to heal people with my hands, so use my energy. And I tried to put my hands on my mom's belly, because she used to have lots of intestinal issues, problems, and she was feeling better. And what did you do to me? She said, what's going on? We didn't know about Reiki or anything like that in the past. I don't know. I just placed my hands and I sensed your energy. And she used to tell me, only Jesus heals. Well, something's going on here. And she also very devoted Catholic, she didn't want to believe that I was able to heal with my hands, so I was able to communicate with my imaginary friends. So because I grew up with no validation about my emotions, about my experiences, I shut down all my abilities, all my my psychic ability, my extrasensory abilities. I pretty much didn't give myself any room for that. Then I went to school. I pursued my degree in counseling, and even more of the matrix, more about labeling people with those abilities as crazy, as schizoid, paranoid, lots of blame on people who have these particular abilities. As delusional, it's the imagination, you are not really grounded, blah, blah, blah. So the counseling, mental health field didn't support any of my my personal experiences, my channeling. I call it downloads. I don't call it channeling.
Mm-hmm.
So all this stream of consciousness, information I received, and I couldn't share, even my adulthood, with anybody in my field. My supervisor was a psychiatrist. Another supervisor was a licensed professional psychologist.
Yeah.
So I needed to just not to share. So my childhood was pretty much tough. I was emotionally and physically abused, but that's for another story. But regarding my spiritual experiences and my awakenings, I did all through my faith to a higher power. My belief in the divine feminine was my way for me to find refuge. I was alone. I was alienated because I couldn't share. I needed to keep it to myself pretty much until I decided I can't continue keeping it to myself.
Is that kind of like the second awakening when it's just like time to come out with it all and just be okay with who you are? Because that's a journey, and then it's a journey, it's an awakening, and it's a dark night of the soul all wrapped together, right? Trying to come out and be okay with who you are and finding out what exactly that is. And you kind of a little bit of everything in the end. You're not just one of, because we're told we have to be this or we have to be that or we have to be this. But really, you know, all of those influences, all of the teachings, I think they all play a part. And so for me, I like to say that I'm just a little bit of all of it. I'm holding on to all the good in it all and just getting rid of all the bad stuff, like all of the, negative stuff that comes with it. So whatever's good in it, I try to take it and apply it to my life, and it works.
Yeah, I do the same. I take the best from different traditions and different philosophical aspects. I like shamanism, for example. I like like you said before, my Earth, Gaia, is the representation of the divine feminine. Father Sky is the masculine aspect, and we need to merge both aspects. I like shamanism a lot. I do not practice. I want to learn more about it, the plant medicine, and the benefits of plant medicine in health and healing.
Yeah.
In healing cancer, for example.
Yeah.
And there are many things that we don't know, many things that we are pretty much, we're not allowed to know. Like many naturopath doctors who are trying to find a solution to cancer.
Yeah.
And they are assassinated because they know they carry the truth. And I can keep going on and on about all those aspects of my Earth is so abundant, has so many gifts to give us. And traditional medicine, traditional medicine community doesn't want us to know, to have access to those type of remedies.
Yeah. The weird thing is a lot of times you find out that they get these medicines and these muscle relaxers and all of these things that they give us to treat headaches and symptoms with, they usually get it from a natural source of or it started there, and then they start manipulating it, whether it be, they go to the natural source, and a lot of times they make it illegal. Like they take it, they put a patent on it, they name it something, and they make it illegal to have. We're talking about kratom. Like a lot of people are using kratom to get off of opiates, and it acts as a muscle relaxer and a pain reliever. And a lot of people are using that. They quickly came in and made that illegal. It's a Schedule I drug in Alabama right now, where I am. The next state over, perfectly legal. You can go to Mississippi and get it, and even Florida. But they're trying to, make it illegal. And they take it and they put a patent on it. We look at like Tylenol or Advil, and there's certain barks and roots that stuff comes from, that if you was to chew on it or to ingest it, it will make your headache go away. And they kind of take that and mix it with chemicals and manipulate it, and the whole genetic makeup of it. And they demonize the natural stuff, because you could go out in nature and get this stuff. You can go out in nature and get psilocybin mushrooms and talk to God, versus coming to the church, paying the money and kneeling and all of this kind of stuff that you have to do, and believe the dogma and stuff like that. So they it's really weird what they're doing, and it's definitely by design when it comes to the pharmaceutical industry, and even when it comes to the sacred plant medicines and things like that. The tobaccos, they take it and manipulate it. And I've got some, and have had beautiful encounters with most of this stuff, the psilocybin, the microdosing, the hero doses, and it would change your life, and they try to take that stuff and make it illegal, but you're fine to have alcohol and tobacco, cigarettes, and all of these things. They want to regulate it.
Right. My Facebook page is New Earth Consciousness, or New Wave of Consciousness. And another part of my mission, I have many missions, is to disclose the matrix and all the manipulations of mind control of Earth, of this planet. I'm a great planter, an earth keeper, a volunteer of Earth. So I notice all those programs and manipulations to keep us ignorant, to keep us ill, not to have access to natural remedies, not to have access to lots of information too. Like I'm aware of all those programs and systems. I know that there are beings of light who wants to help us. And I'm not talking from the biblical standpoint. I'm talking about Pleiadians, for example.
Yeah.
Forces that are really trying hard. And there is a big battle between the forces of light, the forces of dark. And the Pleiadian group wants us to be aware of this information. At the same time, there is the reptilian group, for example, who want us to be in mind control, operating from mind control, who wants us to be oppressed, slaves, and to be totally, there's lots of corruption going on. And I don't want to go into politics, but I know there is these big forces in this planet trying to keep us in the shadows. But also we're entering a new Aquarian age, so many people are awakening, many people are activating their spiritual gifts, and many people are able to talk about their psychic abilities, their channeling, the connection to Gaia. Many, many, many more shamans out there trying to host events to heal the planet, people who meditate to raise the frequency of planet Earth. So we're seeing more people waking up, actually.
Yeah. Would you say from all my study and from all my encounters, not just the studies, but the encounters mixed with the studies of the ancient texts, of the biblical text, of the all of it, it all kind of says something very similar, right? All of these ancient texts, the Sumerian, the Egyptian, the Hindu Vedas, like all of this stuff, they say something very similar. From my studies and experiences, what I've seen is that the good guys and the bad guys, right? I feel like the bad guys are the corrupt government systems that are running our planet right now. And they are the ones that want us to be slaves to them. They want us to kind of be the energy or the oil that runs their machine. And there's a lot of ways and different ways to manipulate and to take away our natural healing abilities, intuition, psychic abilities, to really stamp that stuff out, you know. And I've seen the good guys. You're mentioning the Pleiadians, which are from the, you know what I'm saying, the Pleiades, the seven sisters. The Bible says that Jesus holds the seven stars in his hand, you know, and it's given a reference even in the book of Job to the Pleiades as well. Orion, we've heard of the beings called the Orion Council of Light, and all of these angelic figures, which we would call angels from a Christian standpoint. The word means messengers, right? That communicate with us. They travel in what we would call ships, or sometimes the beings themselves look like ships as they're traveling the multiverse and bringing messages and things back from heaven, what we would call heaven, to earth. So when I see this war, I don't see a war going on out there. When we talk about the angels who fell from heaven, they were actually kicked out of heaven, and they're here on the earth. We're stuck with them. Like, we're having to put up with those guys. But out there, when we gaze up into heaven, I think that's where the good guys are. Is that similar to what you've noticed with this war going on between the races of angels or ETs or angels and demons? I think the words are interchangeable for me.
Because I'm very receptive, intuitive to those type of energies. Like, I had a dark night of the soul in which I didn't believe in anything. I didn't want to believe in anything. I was in the dark side. I didn't want to hear about higher power or anything. But I started to get closer to the light, figurative speaking, closer to the Mary Magdalene, Joshua teachings. When I started to get closer to Pleiadian communication, I started to have a battle within myself. I started to hear no voices, but telepathically,
messages, yeah.
Don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's wasting your time. Do not bother. And I feel, I don't know if my ego was telling me that, or a demonic energy was telling me that. When I got closer to the Magdalene, the Gospel of Mary, when I got close to channeling beings of light, I had a whole sort of influences telling me not to do it. I started to have nightmares, thinking, what the heck is going on here? When I'm in the dark space, nobody bothers me. When I getting close to...
yeah.
Because I was into witchcraft and also...
Mm-hmm.
When I get close to the clean part, right, of the spirituality, the more illuminated path, I start to get this battle. It's not my inner battle, or I'm conflicted about it, or it is a demonic force. Because I know when you are getting close to an ascension process and you notice all those corruption, there are some entities who like to try to persuade you from following the light.
Yeah.
Trying to put doubt and make you hesitate. And some people say is the haunts of the dark. It has a mystical name.
Mm-hmm.
Some dogs that start appearing in your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And I had those dogs appearing in my dreams, putting fear in me, fear consciousness. And I know I'm from the light. I do not want to listen to this. This is not coming from... When I feel like I have fear, I know it's not coming from a reliable source.
Yeah, that's a lot of people go through that. And as you're talking, my mind is immediately going to like the Kabbalistic understandings that there are these different angels and these different levels that you have to go through on what we may call the sanctification process of ascension or spiritual authority, freedom. You have to deal with these things, and everyone has to in their own way. It presents themselves, between Egypt and the Promised Land. There's a golden calf, like everywhere, and that golden calf is something different for everybody. And so that whole hero's journey, even if you will, that we're going through dealing with this stuff. Some people get lost there. We see a picture even in the Bible where the Israelites, a lot of them didn't make it to the other side. Like they got lost in the battle. And there's people there now. We call it the wilderness in the Bible and in the Christian terms. I'm still in the wilderness. I'm ready to go to the Promised Land. That place is weird. That place is hard. That place, sometimes you feel like you're going to be there forever. Like you're stuck there almost, Some people can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. That's why, that's why I'm having you on. We're talking about this, being open with that journey, what it looks like, what it sounds like. As you're journeying towards the light, then you get the pushback. It's funny you say, while I'm doing wickedness and doing stuff I know I'm not supposed to be doing, I'm okay with it. But when I start doing the right things, I'm getting all of this pushback and stuff. And there is this inward struggle, this inward battle, because I know that I have Christian friends listening right now, and I'm thinking like they would say, okay, that check that you got in your spirit was God, the Holy Spirit, saying nightmares and dreams, stay away from that. Don't go down that path. And that's probably one of the first places your mind goes to, right? You're like, okay, is this God? Like, is God telling me to stay away from this stuff? Am I going to get possessed? Am I opening up myself to unclean spirits for possession and things? That has to cross your mind. It crossed my mind, right? But every time I would try to go back to the church realm or what was familiar, there was a safety there, but there was no peace inside. I'm like, I'm supposed to keep going. I have to work through this stuff, And I did, and it was hard. And there was many times of going back and forth and throwing idols away and posters and books and getting rid of all of those things, and then getting them out the trash, and then my wife getting them out, like quite literally crazy, the inward struggle. But it was God. It was the Holy Spirit leading me down the road less traveled, right?
Mm-hmm. It resonates so much with the idols and the portraits. Like my husband has a Ganesh idol from India. Supposedly the Ganesh is the god of removing obstacles in Indian culture. And I told him, what are you doing with that? You need to get rid of that. Mm-hmm. And what do you have that? It doesn't resonate with me. And I was also a little transgrading his own belief system. And he said, yeah, you're right. It does. I don't know why, but it's cool. It goes well with yoga, my yoga practice, but it has no meaning. So he got rid of it. He put it on a shelf in a school.
Yeah.
Nobody took the idol. Nobody wanted it. And he said, it's made of bronze. So I'm going to get it back, maybe sell it later on Exio. But we go through those, getting rid of stuff and bringing them back and trying to find meaning in those objects. Why did we really get rid of? Like, for example, I went through a period of time I painted angels.
Yeah.
I don't like my angel. It looks not good enough for my living room. And my husband said, no, the angel is still good, but we don't put it up. I'm going to donate it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get rid, somebody going to like it. And then later, out of the trash, out of the donation bag. So there's lots of mystery there.
There's
Lots
levels to it. You have to kind of go through it. You have to go up the hill and then back down the hill. And there's different levels of understanding of being okay. You know, what's okay for you, what's okay for me to talk about, to discuss, to look into, is not okay for everybody. And it's not that it's evil. It's just that them in their own consciousness, they're not ready. They're not there because they have to unlearn some things, you know. When it comes to that, I remember, man, so many, even like Christian, like we had so many pictures of Jesus in our house. I had a wood carving that a friend of mine brought back from Colombia. It was like a tree that was carved out the facial picture of Jesus, and necklaces and Jesus hanging on the cross and all of these things. And we had printout that we printed off the internet and hung them up, you know, all of these things. And then studying graven images and studying idolatry, we're like, you know, we got to get this out of our house, you know, and we went through and cleaned everything out and threw everything away and stuff. And we went through that season, and a lot of other people have been through similar seasons. And, but now I'm over it. I'm okay with it. Like it's really a heart issue at the end of the day. And, if God brings you to it, he'll bring you through it. But I think all of those things happen for a reason. We were into Messianic Judaism, and I wore the mezuzah around my neck, and we had it on the doorpost, and it's a biblical. It was something biblical. The Jews would do it. They would hang the mezuzah around their neck, and it had the laws of God transcribed on it. And every time you see it, it reminds you of the laws of God, and on your doorpost, and hang it everywhere. And I woke up one night and I had this conviction where God says, I didn't, take that off your neck. I didn't write I wrote the law on you. It's on your heart. It's written on your heart. You don't have to wear it around your neck to be reminded. The law is written upon your heart. And I took it and I threw it, and symbols and stuff. But we go through that stuff to kind of live to talk about it and to help other people who are going through it, and saying, like, to the pure, all things are pure. There's literally nothing wrong with me wearing that mezuzah necklace. There's nothing wrong with a picture of Jesus or a symbol. I got the flower of life here, and then my logo and sacred geometry and stuff like that, and pictures and stuff. People get on this weird holiness kick, and it's okay. We're on a highway of holiness, each one of us, but I think it's an inward sanctification. And you find out that people, especially religious people, they teach it like it's for everybody. Like if God or the Holy Spirit reveals something to them, like, hey, I don't want you doing this. I don't want you listening to this type of music. I don't want you having pictures in your home of Jesus. I don't want to see you with angel pictures and stuff. If the Holy Spirit tells them and they have an inward conviction, they'll take that and run and shout it from the door, like, the mountaintops. Like, God said, get rid of your images. And it's really weird. Or I've had people who they had a conviction about gospel hip hop. I was doing gospel hip hop at the time. And he said the Holy Spirit told him to quit listening to it. So he calls me up and tells me to quit listening to it, or quit making it, quit performing it, and all that. And it made this weird disdain in our friendship, and he was just on this kick that I was sinning by creating gospel rap music that told people about Jesus. It's this weird sanctification process that it's an inward thing that we try to project outwardly on everyone.
Wow. Yeah, lots of judgment. Actually, you're bringing, with your lyrics, you're illuminating people and reaching out to those masses of people who have no access to regular music. Like, you are doing hip hop, and there is a specific audience for that type of music. But by changing the lyrics and made them positive and made them uplifting, you are creating change. You're shining your light in the dark places, which only people talk about corruption and let's have whatever, sex or whatever, lyrics. You are using your platform to shine your light in those specific places. And you need to respect your intuition and your heart. That's your style of music. It's your creation. Like when I have creations, if I paint or if I write poetry, nobody can tell me, oh, the poetry that you're writing about the Pleiadians is totally wrong because you should write this way or the other way. No, it's my creation. I do whatever I want. If I want to include in the same sentence the divine feminine and then Isis, that's my choice. Or because the divine feminine is not just from the European culture. It can be Isis from Egypt. It can be Diana from the Roman pantheon. Like I had somebody criticizing my poetry, say this is totally screwy. You're putting Isis and later the next line.
I get that. That same person sent me a message too.
And yeah, we need to be free beings, and there is the free will, and we should respect other people's beliefs and be totally in alignment with our mission, our purpose, that is to express our creativity to the best of our abilities and with always following our heart.
We got a couple questions here for you. I'm going to try to, this is from Christy folks. She wants to know if you think that our journey is laid out before us, before we're born, or if we have the power to make ourselves whoever and whatever we want to be. Are we just lemmings and we're just destined to this, or do we have free will to jump on that calling or to even change that calling?
Wow, that's a very good question. I feel, and this is predestination, I feel like I made a contract to express my truth, the divine feminine, publicly, and I made an agreement pre-birth to speak about it, to share publicly about it. Growing up, I was really shy. I would never thought about being public. And part of me, you have the free will, meaning that you decide you want to pursue your mission or you want to stay in the safe space, 9-to-5 job, because create safety. That's your free will. Your free will is going to determine if my safety and security and survival needs more important than pursuing my mission, or my mission more important and the unknown is more important than my survival needs in the now. That's why we need to clear our root chakras and keep all our chakras in alignment. I went through that. Do I want to ruin my reputation as a counselor by pursuing the divine feminine to talk about the ETs or the Pleiadians? Or do I prefer the safety, being accepted by society and the matrix? Or do I want to go ahead into the unknown territory? I don't know what's going to happen to me. I'm going to pursue the divine feminine. I have a Facebook group. I have women who are very supportive. I don't know how the man is going to come. I need to trust, because I trust in my intuition that it's going to happen. Because there is uncertainty when you follow your heart. It's lots of uncertainty. And it's a great amount of courage for you to pursue it.
Yeah.
Because you never know.
That's part of the payoff though, right? Like we talk about in our Discord chat the other day about people using drugs and doing things that gives them instant gratification, like you're cheating the system. When you do things with friends, you glory with friends after victories on just maybe a basketball game. You guys win the basketball game and there's this rush, this feeling of excitement. Man, we did it. Yes. But that came from hard work. It came from practicing. It came from practicing when you didn't want to, and then playing your heart out and winning the game. And you get this rush of energy. It's the same way with a relationship, with being intimate with someone at the end of the relations. You know what I'm saying? And it works throughout everything, like this gratification that we get, but we have to put the work in. Nothing's free. And I think that part of pursuing the dream, however weird or different that dream is, there's even, when you do make it, it's that much more better because you were uncertain. If you were certain that, I'm just going to do this and it's going to work out, we got it. I'm good. Nothing's going to stop me. You got to have that mindset, but there's that, I don't know if I'm about to blow everything. I might lose everything trying to step out in faith. That's part of this, the stepping out in faith. And when you do step out and you create it and it shows up and you're carried and God has you and stuff like that, then it's like, wow, I should have known from the beginning. I should have had an inward knowing. And then when you learn from that, though, and then when it's time to step out into other things, there's a confidence and a grace that's there to carry you to those things as well. But it's that release of dopamine and just that joy that pays off. It's the risk, taking the risk. Most people don't take the risk. And there's been studies done just for stress and things like that, and take the risk. Do it. Like, do what makes you happy. Do what brings you peace. Do what brings you joy, and create it. And especially if it's about being public with your beliefs and your abilities and the ET contact. Other people are going through that stuff and they're suffering because we keep it to ourselves, because we're too scared of what our boss is going to think. We're too scared of what our parents or our kids are going to think. We all have to go through it. People look at me and they say, you got this huge platform, awesome podcast, and you're successful. It didn't start like that. Like, this started out as three people listening and everyone talking behind my back and making fun of me for being a crazy person in the Bible Belt. Like, you know what I'm saying? Until it started catching on. But then I found out when I was open with everything, and I'm not even really trying to be a teacher. I'm not trying to be, so I'm just being open. And so let's talk about it all. I'm gonna be open with it all, and this is what helps you stay sane. This is what the ascension process feels like. This is what the dark night of the soul felt like for me. This is how I got through it. Rose, how did you get through it? And we find out by sharing our story, we are changing the planet. Young people are watching this right now, and they're like, you know what? TruthSeekah stepped out. I'm gonna step out. Rose stepped out. And it's working, and she's open. I'm gonna try. I'm just gonna try it, see what happens. And when they do, everything I just said, being carried by faith and stuff starting to open up, and it's helping. We're changing the globe by this conversation of being authentic with who we really are and how the spirit realm works. Especially something that's been suppressed. The divine feminine, dealing with the feminine energies. I mean, the fact of something as simple as, the idea of Mother Gaia or the earth being alive, and being a spirit, and little things like that just gives somebody just that little piece, that little breadcrumb of truth to kind of keep digging and keep going. Synchronicities, blessings, doors opening, saying stuff, because they don't have nobody to go to. I had nobody to go to. I wish there was a TruthSeekah out there when I was going through this stuff. I wish this podcast existed. I had Coast to Coast AM, I listened to that, and but there was no interaction, there was no community and stuff. But forming that and having people to talk to, I called in the podcast and all that stuff, and it's part of the process. I love it.
I love it too. We're game changers, and you inspire me. I came across your channel. You were interviewing Laura Eisenhower. I said, wow. And I was thinking, I like her a lot because she speaks her truth and she's fearless. I want to be fearless too. And also I was thinking, I want to have podcasts. And I was trying to figure it out, what type of software he's using. I want to do it the same. But I know my mission is not to be a podcaster, but my mission is to create community. But we create community through Facebook, through any social media. It can be through YouTube, through meetups. There's so many ways to create community, but you inspire me a lot when I watch your videos, your setting, and your ability to communicate to people, because it's like something triggers us, and all of a sudden we want to be in the public view, and it's like the spirit probably, or any type of our I am present, the higher self tell us, you can do it, trust, follow the breadcrumbs. You are going to find a way type of situation. So,
well, thank you. That means a lot. I appreciate that. Yeah. Being open, if you kept it to yourself, no one would know. And that's the starting point of just being open and authentic. No matter who you are, where you are, whatever beliefs, how crazy they are, we talk about it on here. We discuss it, and I like to talk about what's real and those encounters and those experiences that maybe it'll help somebody. Because you can't really, like I said, you're coming from a professional realm of psychiatrists and people who, I even had someone, I got a book out, and I did a book about my story, my testimony about witchcraft and things like that I was in. And some guy, there was a negative comment on there that said that I needed to be committed into a facility, and that I was paranoid, schizophrenic, and all that kind of stuff. I was hearing those voices, but it was through witchcraft that those doors were opening up, and I was hearing voices. It wasn't like something that happened to me and I was born with it or something, but by doing witchcraft, opening up doors for demonic influence and stuff. And I wrote about it in my book, and from the professional aspect, very maybe a scientific aspect of it, like you need help. The funny thing is, I wrote about that in my book because I knew that if I was to tell people, hey, I'm seeing shadow beings in my house, hey, I got demons, I'm being pulled into trances that I don't know where I am, it's not good, I can't control it. I know if I went to someone with that I would have been put on medication. I would have been, man, I don't know what would have happened. And I'm glad that I went to a spiritual leader. For me at the time, it was a church. I called the churches. Hey, I got demons. Like, this is demonic. And I got help. And amazing. But I wonder if what would have happened. I knew that, look, these people are going to commit me. If I was to tell you what I'm experiencing and I call a doctor or psychiatrist, it's over with, man. So
they won't get you.
We exist for a reason, man. It's people who are spiritually sick. Jesus said it's not those who are whole and healthy and who have it all figured out that need a doctor. It's those who are sick, those who have questions, those who are going through that rough time. They need somebody to talk to. I'm not worried about the guys who have it all figured out. I'm not worried about debating you and what you believe and how I'm right. Like I said, I'd say all the time, you should have caught me 8 years ago, 6 years ago. If you wanted to debate, I would have debated you. We're not doing that anymore. We're just declaring this is truth. This is what happens. This is what happens when I pray. This is what happens when I close my eyes, when I dream. This is what happens when I stargaze. Something's out there. Let's get to the bottom of it. What is it? It makes me feel good. I receive messages, inspiration, eat better, meditate more, take care of your body. What's going on? Let's get to the bottom of it, And it's beautiful. It is to be cherished. But you do have to be careful, right? I did go through witchcraft and demonic possession. There is right ways and wrong ways to do anything. All of these things we're talking about are but tools to use in your process. Prayer is a tool. Meditation is a tool. Fasting is a tool. Going into trances, trance state, music, they're all tools. How are you going to use them? We can look at a lot of people who are using those things for negative reasons. They're praying to demons. They're meditating, opening up their mind to demons or any spirit that wants to inhabit their body, playing with Ouija boards. There's a right way and a wrong way to do that stuff. And that's why we do this. And that's why I encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. Because you got a lot of people watching. Sometimes I've done episodes where I have, 80,000 people listening, and then we've done other shows on like YouTube where we get 300 views or 200. And your mind immediately wants to go to, man, I want the 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. I want those numbers. That's where like your ego would go, because you want to have impact in the earth. You want to, you don't want to fall upon deaf ears, but it is those small numbers. It doesn't even take that much. We have I got decent numbers, but they're effective numbers. Like they're numbers that people are really, the community is coming together. We don't need 7,000 people in the community. Like we got a few hundred, and some of them are more active than others in parts of it, but there are people who are inspired, who inspire us and inspire each other, and we're building. It's beautiful. And if I had 300, you had 300, somebody else has 300, somebody else has 3,000, whatever, man, be thankful for just those people who get it, man, who are being helped, who resonate with what you're bringing to the table.
And I appreciate that you give me access to your platform, because I know of other people who only interview the big names, the trendy names, the popular people who will bring them lots of views and lots of likes, and that's not the point. The point is to give access to people who are really just starting out, coming out of their spiritual closet, not the famous names.
Some of the bigger people, I'll be honest with you, some of the bigger names, I think a lot of their stuff is fabricated. I have a much harder time believing their stories, the big names. It is the people who are just starting out, or who have the stuff that, like people I know, I have people I know personally that nobody knows. They've never been live. And I'm like, look, let's get you on here, share your story, because you have something to share. They're not going to get the big numbers, but those who listen are going to be impacted. And I know that, some of the bigger names, I think they're making stuff up, and I hate to say that, but I want the truth. I'm truth seeker. I'm not lie seeker. I'm not theory seeker. It's not about theories and what might be happening. Like, what's happening? What's going on? And at the end of the day, what's working? What's helping you get through this stuff? This stuff is hard. Like, there's people they're killing themselves over this stuff. This isn't a game. This isn't funny. This isn't fairy tale. This is real deal stuff. People can't balance these energies, and they're on those drugs. They're on those psychotic medicines. They went through the same process I did, and they called the doctor, and they're no longer with us. Wow. And I want to, it's sad, but that's it's real. It's real life, man. I know it sounds funny, contacting aliens and angels and all this stuff, theories, but this is people's lives, man, that are being affected by us being open with our stories. That's for somebody listening, man. Be open. Talk about it.
There are many sensitive children now. There are more and more children coming with those gifts and abilities. The crystal, the indigo children who need to be medicated because the school counselor, or the doctor doesn't believe it's possible, and they are taking Ritalin or sort of Xanax medication to keep them tame and calm.
Yep.
And that's really affecting the new generation of children that have so many abilities, so much to share. And that's why I'm conflicted about the medical community drugging our children. Yeah. Not just adults, but the kids who have absolutely zero dependency to any substances, they start developing those dependencies. They start consuming them.
It's hard, and I get those inboxes every day, and when I wasn't on medication as a kid. If my mom just whooped me when I got being bad, I got a lot of whoopings, put it that way. But there's a lot of people, and I don't think that it's too late for anybody. I think there's a chance for everyone. I think that I've seen God rearrange people's mind and give people a new mind. I believe in neurogenesis. We're talking about plant medicines. I mean, even like psilocybin is linked to neurogenesis, where you're actually regrowing brain cells by consuming psilocybin and things like that. And I believe in the supernatural healing power to give you a new mind, that hey, I need a new one because I messed this one up, or the doctors messed this one up or whatever. And there's grace there. And I've seen supernaturally God take people who were on hard drugs, pharmakia, methamphetamine, psychotic people who are psychotic, crazy. Like we look in the Bible where Jesus went to the island and there was the demon possessed man who kept cutting himself and all of these things and throwing himself on the ground. We've dealt with people like that. I was one of those people, but I've seen people made whole through the power of God, through love, through somebody caring. You know what I'm saying? And that power is there. It's tangible through prayer, through fasting, and just doing the spiritual work that you're supposed to do. And part of it is balancing the energies, and part of it is walking in love, even to those who have wronged you. The religious people don't have a vendetta against Christianity. Don't have a vendetta against Islam or political right-wingers or lefters. Like, remove yourself from it and so that you're not affected. And that's part of being able to cope and be in what the Bible, Paul says, become all things to all men, so that you can win some. We could talk about whatever. We can go there. We've experienced the majority of it,
Right. And always sharing from the heart, not trying to be righteous, because nobody has the truth. We all have a little bit of the truth. And even all religions, there is some truth there. But nobody can say my path is better than your path, or this righteous person, throwing stones at you because of your path is a little different or a modified path. We all have the divine spark of God within, and we all can shine our light, and there is no better or worse path, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We all have a piece of the puzzle. And last week on our School of the Mystics, we had one of those pictures where when you look at it, it looks like a young woman. But if you look at it closer, another way, it looks like an older lady. And it's like a trick picture. And some people were seeing the old woman at first. Some people saw the young lady. And then some people could see both, the longer. Some of them couldn't see the other one, even if you told them where it was. And so it's about your perception of the truth, your truth. If you believe it enough, it becomes true for you. It becomes your reality until you're confronted, until it's checked or whatever the case is, and see if it stands. It's your truth, even if it is what some people would consider a lie or something or it's not good. There's things that you've experienced, that I've experienced, and many people listening, that other people may never be privy to. They may never know what it's like to be contacted by angels, aliens. They may never know what that feels like. And it's not against them or whatever. It's just, it is what it is. There's other things that other people have experienced that we may never know. And we may go to the grave not knowing what that encounter is. But it's not to say that encounter is bad or it's not real. We want to experience it. We don't want to just take people's word for it. Like, we need some, we would like some proof. I talked to a buddy of mine yesterday. He's saying, like, I got to see a being. Like, I know that the whole meditation, the telepathy, the seeing the ships and the stars, and I know that. He said, but I'm gonna have to see something. It's like, you might not though. You may never. They may never appear in bodily form in front of you. It may be only through meditation. Like, man, I gotta have proof. I got to make sense about what all of this I've been seeing. You know what I'm saying? And But that's a conversation we've had. You know, he can't go to his boss and have that conversation. He can't just go to his pastor and have that conversation about the angelic realms. And so that's why what we do matters, and then for people who are having those conversations. So
Yeah, and the mind needs answers. The mind needs, if somebody's channeling the Orion Council, how do you do it? How do I know you're telling the truth? How do I know you're making it up? That's the ego mind. It needs the answers. Or like you said, I heard demonic entities, or I received some messages or whatever. Prove it. And there's no way to prove anything, because we need to surrender and open our hearts and just follow the heart, because we literally don't have proof about anything. We just feel the intuition. We feel what resonates, what's truth for us, what's not truth, what resonates from the light, what feels like negative. We just need to follow our senses.
Yeah, and just being okay to know what you know. I remember I had a guest on. This was some years ago. I don't even have that podcast anymore. But I had a guest on, and we were talking about our encounters. And I told him this encounter that I had with Jesus, and I explained it to him. It was a magical encounter. It was beautiful, and he's like, "That wasn't Jesus.
Oh,
that was so and so." I was like, "Okay." It's like, how do you know? Like, you wasn't there. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so people have their beliefs. You know, if you believe Jesus didn't exist, or if you believe, like, it's so weird trying to make sense of the spirit realm and reality and what this is. And because there is so many questions, but the thing about it, you will never get the answers unless you ask the questions. I want to know this. I want to know that. I have friends, they want to know how the spirit realm operates. They want to know what those stars are. Are they really just balls of gases burning? Can you communicate with a star? I've seen things go into stars and come out of stars. What the hell are the stars? You know what I'm saying? So you have to ask the questions. You have to study. You have to look it up. Get into the text. Meditate. Pray. Because you're not going to be able to go to your pastor or I don't know what the deal is with this ancient information and why they're hiding it. NASA, you know, no alien life. We don't have any proof. When you or me can go out under the stars for an elongated period of time and most likely make contact with the angelic beings, the angels, the Pleiadians, they'll show up. Something will come out of a star or come out of a constellation, and just these life-changing encounters, but we're told that it's not real. Like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? So you have to ask the questions, and everybody's passion is different. Nobody's wrong, like we said. If you don't want to ask those questions, great. We need other questions are asked. That takes time, and really almost a lifetime, you know, years to study that stuff out, to prove it and figure out what's going on, to where you can like boldly come up on a podcast and speak it as truth and not maybe it's what it is. And that's why at the end of the day, it's really hard to say. Like you said, we can't, you know, how do you know it's the Orion Council of Light? Well, I took a picture of them. Well, they sent me a letter. Like, it's really hard. It is through, okay, I was meditating on Orion, and these thoughts came, these pictures came, and a ship appeared. Meditating on Orion, and telepathically told me this. For some people, like, that's all the proof they need. It's a start. I know that. May not be the end all about what exactly is going on. What about when you meditate and look at Sirius at night? What about you're meditating during the day? You find out where those stars are and you're meditating. I've seen some crazy stuff, and I'm not an expert and I don't speak as one, but something is out there and it's watching over us, and it's love. It's beautiful, and we can connect with it. And I encourage people to do it.
I agree. There are lots of beautiful forces out there watching over us. We just need to trust. And we can have direct communication to those energies. We don't need an intercessor, right? To connect. We can meditate. We can create safe space and project our energies, and we will receive answers, really.
And that's the thing too, is like, that's why earlier I was talking about the good and the bad and what is what, you know, because a lot of people, especially from the Christian community, will say that those are demons out there in the stars, and there's demons traveling the skies waiting for you to meditate so they can possess you. From a biblical text, they fell, they were kicked out. They're here. They're in the White House. They're in Parliament. They're in the castles. They're the 13 bloodlines. Those are your fallen angels. Those are your spirits that are trapped in the ethers. They're around us here. Out there is heaven. They're kicked out. I don't think you have anything to fear. I really don't. If you want to protect yourself, ask the Holy Spirit to protect you. Only bring in what's good, what has your best interest. I do that before I go to bed at night. You know, I cover myself in prayer and positive affirmations and receiving what God has for me, the creator of everything. Like, what does that have for me? That's beautiful. That's good. That can help me and assist me in approaching it without fear. And let your, blow your mind beyond your wildest dreams, that all of the stuff you've seen in the movies, the dreams that you've had, the fairies, the angels, the pixies, all of that stuff exists on a level, on a dimension. And if it didn't exist, because you believe it, there's something deep. Because you believe it, you create it, and you have the power to bring it into this reality. Creating it. That's deep. And we can go on for hours. Rose, thank you so much for coming on. I really enjoyed this talk with you. You have a really cool YouTube channel. Let people know where they can go to subscribe to your channel and some of the stuff that you bring to the table, and talk about what you do over there.
Okay, my channel is Rose Harmonics. I have meditations. I have channeling, contact. I have content about light language too. They do. And I'm going to start sharing more about the divine feminine archetype and how we can connect to her. I also have my website is rosecrystalofficial.com. You can find me there. And I have a Facebook group, the Mystical Circle of the Rose, dedicated to the feminine emergence for all the sisters out there. So you just click or Google it and you can find me on YouTube.
Yes, definitely. If you type in Rose Harmonics, it's one of the first ones that comes up. Rose Crystal, you get rose quartz crystals at first. So type in the Rose Harmonics and it'll come up in the Google search engine or on YouTube. So Rose, again, thank you for coming on. I really enjoyed this interview, this hangout with you, and we'll have to do it again soon.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, my friend, you have a good one. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye. Rose Crystal, Rose Harmonics, ladies and gentlemen. Really sweet woman. Sweet guest. I enjoyed it. People in the chat hanging out. What's up, guys? Rose, yeah. They're saying, let her know that we enjoyed it. They enjoyed it, Rose. If you're still watching, I'm sure she's going to watch the replay either way. Yeah, really sweet woman, sweet person. Thank you, Christy, for the donation there. Thank you, Crowlings, as well, for the donation too. I got both of those. I've seen the alert come up. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Means a lot. So I want to let everybody know too that we're gonna be live September the 22nd at Shanti Fest in Tallahassee, Florida. So if anybody would like to come, I will be performing. I'm going to be performing, and I'm going to be doing a live podcast as well. So We're going to be doing that September 22nd, Tallahassee, Florida, Shanti Fest. The information is on my website. It's only $5 to get in. There's going to be a full day of yoga and meditation and prayer and arts and all types of cool stuff. So check that out. If you want to meet me, if you want to come and support what I'm doing, I'm going to be doing a concert and a live podcast. Also, my good friend Christy Lee will be there. She's going to be leading some guided meditation after the morning yoga session. I'm excited about that. So she's on the bill too. And a bunch of my friends are driving up to go there from all over, really. So if you want to be one of those people, I'd love to meet you. Come hang out with us. Also, November the 2nd, we do have another event coming up in Mobile, Alabama. It's going to be at the Lacey House, which is where I did my last album release party. It's going to be a house show. We're setting that up right now. So that's going to be November the 2nd in Mobile, Alabama. If you want to come out, it'd be awesome. Well, so I'm going to be doing that. I'm excited about those dates. And that's pretty much it. Let me know. And some people were asking the other day about doing a Q&A. So if anybody has any questions that you want to type in the chat, I got a few minutes here. I'll try to get to the bottom of some of it for you. If you have any questions, I'll try to jump on it before I get off of here. I will say that I'm trying to get some more writing done. There's a couple topics and things that I want to cover, and they're kind of I can approach them by themselves, but I'm going to put them in a book. I'm going to be covering some topics here. I started out kind of writing what I want to be my magnum opus, my everything, like my complete body of work, and I'm just trying to get everything out. And it's going to be entitled the Spirit Realm, and it's going to be dealing with everything spiritual. And I have a bunch of topics that I'm going in on, and I've already started it of just listing names of spirits, like in a biblical aspect, and kind of going into how they operate and what they are spiritually. We're going to be talking about the spirits that present themselves before men, and I'm coming at it from mostly a biblical perspective and apocryphal perspective as well. Some of the books that were taken out, so I'm going to be talking about it from those angles. One of the subjects that I'm going to be talking about as well is the spiritual power of sex, the sacred union and the sacred marriage of sex. And so there's a bunch of topics and a bunch of ways to overcome sexual immorality, fasting, parasites, organisms, like, you know what I'm saying, microscopic organisms that exist on us and in us and around us on a very physical level. And you have to have a trained eye, whether that be a microscope or, in a spiritual sense, a third eye, to be able to see the spiritual parasites that have to have a host and feed off of your energy. And I'm going to be talking about all that in the book as well. So have a bunch of little topics that I'm trying to put this together. And this is going to be, I don't know how long this is going to take. Send positive energy and prayers my way, because I'm really excited about this work. So I don't know where that's going to end. So I'm started on it, trying to get it out, just talking about the sovereignty of God, how spirits operate in your life, the devil, evil spirits, being sent by God, all of that stuff. So send positive thoughts and energy my way. I appreciate that. Danny says, I got you, bro. Appreciate you, Danny. Same for you and your book, Danny. Keep writing. Don't let nothing stop you. Keep it up, man. Create that stuff. Speak life to it. Speak it into existence. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been working on that and some more music as well. DNA says, Seekah, what's good? What's up? God is good all the time. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing. I've been working on some new music with the Colors EP. 7 songs, trying to get that ready. I don't want to force anything. It's easy to force stuff like sometimes I record hooks and stuff, and they're okay. They're just not like really good. And there's a certain bar that it has to be like bang. I don't want to put out mediocre work. And I will admit, it's just part of it. I put out mediocre collabs sometimes. They're not as good as my solo stuff. And I even feel bad about that. But it's just like, I have my creativity process is a bit different. I take a lot of time. I can't just kick out a verse. Sometimes it's fast. Most of the time it takes me a long time of striving and rolling ideas and rhyming schemes and making sure that I'm trying to stay close to the topic and stuff. So I have a lot of people wanting to work with me here and on projects and stuff. So I've been doing some of that. I don't like it's not as good as my regular stuff. So and I think it has something to do with beat selection of like the type of music and that people send me, because I'm inspired by the beat. It's hard for me to talk about mysticism and deep esoteric stuff with beats that are like crunk beats or like gangster rap beats. I have a really synth driven and dream beats that can put you in a dream state just by listening to the beat. Like those are the beats that I usually work with, those type of producers and stuff. So there's going to be some collabs coming out there. There's a EP that I'm working on with Loke Saint and Cult Truth. It's going to be a Patreon exclusive thing. There's one song that's already up. I do feel pretty good about that one. So you guys can go check that out on the Patreon right now. There's 3 songs off of the Colors album that's already available right now. I feel really good about all 3 of those. I can't wait to bring them out to the general public, but that's kind of the perk of being a patron, is you get this stuff months before anybody else. So head on over and check that stuff out. Aaron Fowler says, I'd like to hear a dance party beat. Any suggestions? A dance party beat. Interesting. That stuff sells, man. I'll say this. When you talk about dance party stuff, here's something that's going on. I'm also working on a remix album. I have an EDM remix album that somebody's remixing my stuff for me. And he's already remixed my song Golden Teachers, and it's good. I have people remix my music all the time with EDM and trance and stuff. And most of the time, my vocals aren't on key. Most of the time, they're not on tempo or rhythm. I'll send them my stuff and I get it back, and it's just like, if I record it to the beat, in my head, like I hear the beat, and then when it's off rhythm, it's like but this guy I'm working with now, he goes by Headbangers, so he's doing like a EDM festival trap type stuff, really cool, and my stuff is on timing, so that's a good thing about it. That's like the first thing I listen to when I hear the vocals kick in. It's like, oh, is it on timing? That's going to be available soon too. He's working on that, and really excited about it. Good stuff. So let's see. We jump on this chat here. Chris Garner says, I tried to look up your old episodes on the Divine Council of the Elohim, but it seems to be gone. Who was the guy and what was the book? It depends on where you're looking that up at, because if you're listening to the episodes on iTunes, for some reason they only let you have 100 up at a time. They only list 99, and I think they take them down or what, but I don't know what the deal is with iTunes, but I've noticed that they only have 99 episodes up for everybody from what I've seen. So you may have to go to the website and look it up. If you type in Divine Council and type in TruthSeekah on Google, it's definitely going to come up. But that was the Michael Heiser episode, who's an expert on the Divine Council, and really like what he brings to the table. It's so funny because like I don't 100% ascribe to anybody's teachings 100%, but I take them all and take the good stuff and what everybody's piece of the puzzle. So I wouldn't even take Heiser stuff by himself. Like take Heiser stuff and mix it with Sitchin. And the funny thing is that Dr. Heiser has a website called sitchiniswrong.com. But the funny thing, from a Christian perspective, Dr. Heiser's stuff kind of proves Sitchin stuff in a weird way for me. You know, it proves the Divine Council. It proves these entities that created us, the Elo. We would call them something else, the Elohim. So yeah, check out. That was a good one. Michael Heiser, really big name. You can find it on YouTube as well. Just type in Divine Council TruthSeekah, you'll find it. Okay, now he says you found it. Okay, great. Danny says, I know I've been slacking on this because of personal stuff I've been going through, but do you still need someone making short video clips. Yeah, I still don't have anybody dedicated to that. Like, I'm willing to do what I have to. I found I do have a download for Sony Vegas on the computer that I can send someone. Yeah, I need people. And I've tried to pay people. I've tried to go on Fiverr and get people, and honestly, most of the time it's people from India. And they've done it, but they've done the clips, but they don't know the subject matter. So it makes it hard. I tell them to make clips, and they just had random clips with no point to them. It's like, oh, and I paid them. I was like, hey, man, you guys didn't do this right, man. You know, so it takes a lot of time for me to do the website and do the podcast and book stuff and all that kind of stuff, and then go back and dissect clips out of it. Maybe I should do more shows and address some things in pop culture or some things that are trending. Most of the time, it's organic whenever something happens, but like whether it's the guest brings something up or I talk about something that just had to be on point. So yeah, I do need help with that. So if anybody wants to help with making video clips out of my podcast, let me know. I do need help. So okay, who said that? Somebody in there says Heiser was on Stephen Bancar's show. Oh God, Stephen Bancar's. Hey, yeah. Good luck with that, whatever that is at this point. He wanted to come on the show, but nah, we're not. This isn't a debate show. He likes to debate people. Danny says, LOL, I made a clip from one of your videos from my laptop on this program. I'll send it to you. Yeah, man, thank you, dude. And I'll hook you up. Whatever you need, you let me know for doing that. Whatever you need, I'll compensate you somehow. Let me know. Send people to your channel, something, whatever it is. Let me know. But I do need help. Anybody wants to reach out, making clips. You know, there's over probably 150 episodes now, and we need to make clips out of, especially the bigger names. Like she was talking about the bigger names. Those get clicks. Those get views, you know. So that's good. And it you know, people are listening to this right now because of the interview I did with Seven. There's people listening to this now because of the Jordan Maxwell interview, and there's people listening because of the Michael Heiser, some of the bigger names or whatever, the people who I've tapped into their fan base and stuff. So there's that aspect as well. I'm thinking about trying a month of solo episodes. I'm thinking about October, just solo episodes all month. See how it works out. People are saying they want to hear more solo episodes. I don't know. I don't know if I have the content, but we'll see. So y'all let me know. Let's do that. I'll put that out there now. Let me know on any platform, Patreon, Facebook, YouTube, whatever, what you want me to cover, what subject matter you want me to cover. Obviously, I have a bunch of subject matter that's going to go into the book, and maybe I can cover that on each episode, and that would be 8 episodes that month, I think. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, 8 episodes that month of chapters that are going to be in the book. That'd be something interesting to cover. But if there's something you want to hear me talk about, let me know, and I'll try to get to it. But other than that, that's pretty much it, man. Danny says, Michael Heiser says the image of God means we are him, but vocally opposes mystical teachings. He be contradicting himself a lot, low key. Yeah, I know, right? That's the funny thing. He affirms things for you, though, right? As you're listening, he's like talking about the divine council and these angels that watch over humanity and all of this stuff. But then he like negates all the spiritual, mysticism stuff is what they call it, and they put a negative connotation on it. But for you, the seeker, it confirms and affirms some things that you've been studying. That's why I like listening to some of that stuff. Michael Heiser is one of the top dogs when it comes to that stuff. But yeah, man. With that, I'm going to say peace and shalom. And we'll do this again. Today's Thursday. We're doing the School of the Mystics tonight. Going to get into some prayers, some energy healing, some meditation. Feel like we'll do that tonight. And tap in and tune in. So it's going to be good. Sly still says my favorite podcast. What up, Sly? Thank you for that. Yeah, School of the Mystics tonight. If you want to get access to that, join us. Patreon.com/TruthSeekah. Link is in the description. You get access to a bunch of cool stuff. I try to make it interesting. Thank you guys for believing in me, believing in this vision, and I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna keep inspiring. I'm gonna keep speaking. See what happens. Rose Harmonics is watching now. She says, thanks everyone on the chat. I enjoyed it. So Christy, she sees the chat there. And so Chris Garner says, I didn't even know Heiser was a big deal. Oh yeah, Heiser is a big deal. So with that, I'm gonna say peace and shalom. I love you guys. We'll do it again very soon. Get at me, y'all. Also, if you're not a member of our Discord, that's our community. During the week, after the shows, I like to hang out in Discord with the community. There's text chat and there's voice chat. If you want to hang out with us, look in the description of whatever you're listening to this on, and we're usually in Discord hanging out. I almost always have Discord pulled up on my computer, and you can get access to me and the community that way. And so, yeah, check that out too. It's a really good tool for building community. Some awesome people in there. Love you guys. Shalom, shalom.
Your way so much higher than mine, so much higher than mine. Your so much deeper than mine, so much deeper than mine.
Well, that does it for this episode, folks. To hear more episodes of the TruthSeekah podcast, head over to truthseekah.com. And if you're wanting to support the show and get rewards, go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/TruthSeekah.